Personally, I'm really hyped for it. So without further ado, let's get straight into Pokemon Adventures, Diamond and Pearl. Around 4 years have taken place since the Emerald Our story begins within a mansion. A butler by the name of Sebastian drops off an outfit the old lady of the house, thanks him, getting ready for a special day. She picks out a perfect pearl for her right hand and a flawless diamond for her left. We now collide City, where the next generation comedy Grand Prix is underway. And starting off, we have our next two main characters, Diamond and Pearl. You get ready to begin their skit, Pearl having everything planned out and sorted. But when it comes time for the punchline, Diamond and his munchlax have already gone distracted, much to the crowd's dismay, forcing the two of them to take an intermission. Pearl demands an explanation from his partner, but he says that his munchlax can't help but be hungry. Here's the thing. Pearl's in shambles, knowing they just lost a chance to showcase their talents on the big stage. Meanwhile, Diamond's falling into a food coma. Pearl reminds him of their dream. After seeing a comedy duo from Johto, back when they were in nursery school, they vow that they've also become a comedy troupe. They've been rehearsing and practicing it, asking if he's really going to back out and break their promises now. But Diamond says no way. So with renewed vigor, the two head off to practice for next month's tournament. Back at the mansion, the ladies finish preparing for a journey. Sebastian's worried for his safety, but reassures him. Especially trained bodyguards have been picked out, and their trainers are the highest caliber. With these two by his side, he'll reach the peak of Mount Coronel, no problem. The two bodyguards are identified by their red and green scarves, so she'll have to keep a lookout for them. Lady sets out for her journey, but she's not alone, as in her case lies Pokeballs and Pokedex, and her Pokemon of choice is Pebble. Over with Pearl and Diamond, Diamond's already starting to get tired from the streets being slapped in their skin, but Pearl insists that they can never be too prepared. The comedy producer then interrupts them to reveal they actually won the special merit prize, including a travel coupon and a letter, which they take with them on stage. The trio rush back to the building, but crash into Professor Rowan and his aide. Rowan lectures the two to apologize and run off. Rowan's only just returned back to Sinnoh. He didn't expect things to be easy already, but it works out perfectly for his aide, as it allows her daughter to slip into the crowd and lead for a journey. After all, she's part of the Burles family, whose tradition is to climb out for it and create an emblem with the materials there. But that's not all, as she's also agreed to gathering data as a Rowan by filling in the Pokedex. The bodyguards then appear swiftly, receiving their letter mission from their clients. Back on Diamond and Pearl, they open their travel coupon. The information inside doesn't seem very tourist-like, with their destination being the peak of Mount Air, their mission being bodyguards, and their compensation being 10 million, which is one, it's super far away, and two, even more money than the first place prize. The producers can see why they're so high, since this was just meant to be a bike tour around Sancho Park. The arrived meeting comes around. The lady lets out the other two Pokemon in order to greet them, these being Turtwig and Chimchar. She tells the two Pokemon that they can pick their partner when they arrive, on both Pokedexes. And right on cue, the gentleman in the green and red scarf, Diamond's confused why their supposed holiday seems like a mission, but Pearl reveals they're probably being featured on TV and gonna get jumped with cameras that will try to capture their reaction, being tricked. But instead of cameras, they get jumped by Pokemon. The Pokedexes begin beeping, and Diamond catches a glimpse of a lady, viewing her as a princess. In all her movement, they manage to disturb a bunch of Starly, who begin attacking them. The lady commands that they drive them away, and after half an hour of struggling, they succeed. The lady's in shock at their skill level, thinking there might have some sort of mix-up, but she chalks up her suspicions to them being able to blend in as friends on an outing. She asks them for their names, acknowledging them and then preparing to leave. Girls know her name too, but she reveals she was told not to
Okay.
reveal her name to commoners, which Pearl is understandably not too happy about. And like so, our ragtag group of Dex holders set off on their journey through Sinnoh, leaving the bodyguards confused as to where their client is. Pearl and Diamond now find themselves inside a hotel room. Whilst Diamond's busy snacking away and watching his favorite TV show, Pearl's just trying to figure everything out. First off, they have to call a Pokedex. Secondly, they have new Pokemon joining their group. And lastly, the Pokedex is all big when close together. Diamond tells Pearl that he's been saying something smart this whole time, but Pearl isn't talking about the trip. Instead, he's talking about the lady. She refuses to tell him her name, and even though she's meant to be their guide, she orders them around all the time, even bringing them to this fancy luxury hotel. So now he's determined to find out what her secret is. And to do this, he set up his traps on Chandler to go spy on her. Chandler finds the lady in her room, speaking with Sebastian on the phone. He overhears the words lady as well as protect, but before he can return, it spots some lurking shadows. Herman rehearses their skit, and Paul nicknames his twin shark Chandler, liking how fast it is, especially compared to Diamond's slow turtle, which he nicknames True. Suddenly, they split from the lady's room, rushing to see what happened, and what they find is a ton of Bidoof eating everything. Pearl notes that the length of their teeth is way longer than the one in their deck's image, but now's no time to be a detective, as the lady is under attack. Pearl does his best to fight Pokemon, but his attacks do nothing, leading to him getting trampled by the stampede. We begin chasing Diamond, and he comes up with an idea after seeing a rampage, leading the Bidoof to the elevator. Pearl takes a step up and follows him, finding the Bidoof eating a statue. Asks how they managed to get the Pokemon to chill out. Diamond explains that the Pokedex says that these Pokemon choose to stop their teeth from getting too long. In this case, they ended up getting lost from their usual location, finding a hotel, leading to things going the way they did. The only thing that could help them reduce these life, however, was the metal statue that Diamond saw on the roof. So, as he puts it, he didn't battle them, but he defeated the Bidoof, and the loser has less too. The lady laughed. Pearl asks her if she giggled, but she says she didn't. She then says that this statue is made out of solid gold, so she should probably stop the Pokemon from eating it. After all, they don't have the funds to pay for this. The lady insists that they shouldn't worry about them, because after all, she owns the hotel. And Chandler starts shouting, Lady Protect. Back with the OG bodyguards, the two are realizing that the situation isn't going as it should be. So they lock in and find the lady themselves. And speaking of, she's setting off with the gang on their journey. Although she was worried about her bodyguards before, they've proven to be effective. But how effective they really are, they're gonna have to show here and now. There's a Luxio appears before them, and where it growls at them menacingly, it chooses to run away. Pearl and Diamond begin their rehearsal, and the lady wonders if they're training. After all, it always ends up with Diamond getting hit. Pearl says that it's not that bad, which Diamond begs to differ. He explains that the hitting during the punchline creates a rhythm, which increases the intensity and encourages his partner. And as he explains it himself, the punchlines from the heart, which is a crazy way of justifying violence, but we move on. Out of the grass, Luxio appears again, but this time he grabs the lady's scarf and leads her to his pride. Pearl immediately notices that he's the only one being aggressive, while the others are watching like it's a show. Diamond prepares for battle, but he's way too slow to be able to do anything. The Luxio roars to its pride, but they don't show the same kind of action, which Pearl takes note of. Now it's Pearl's turn, and with the help of the Pokedex, he realizes the issue. Luxios communicate with electrical pulses in their forepaws, creating a form of rhythm, just like him in his hitting. And since this Luxio's claws are way too short, it communicate properly. He flees to the Pokemon and says that he'll help it out, grabbing it and having it connect with the others. The rest of the Pride understand this message, allowing it to join back into the pack, thanking Pearl and taking his lead. In the background, the lady starts slapping us in the face, much to the confusion of everyone else. But when questioned on her actions, she once again lies on her answer. Although she won't say it aloud, she's having a great time traveling with the group, and now they finally reach the Orenburg gate. As for the bodyguards, they've reached the hotel and learned of what happened then. Our heroes pass through the Orenburg gate to enter into the city, in the coal mine. Because of it, everyone went adrift, but the Pride from Piplup uses. The group then prepares to find a place to stay, but a bulldozer comes their way, forcing Piplup to stay. A construction worker appears, telling of his side up and playing around in the bulldozer. He apologizes to the group and asks them to make it up to them somehow. The lady wants to look inside the coal mine, wanting to go touch coal and dig it out with her own two hands. Pearl asks what she's doing, but as expected, she assures him she was doing nothing. The worker agrees to show them around, and Pearl says that they'll go find a place while she enjoys herself, which she can't help but be grateful of, because after all, if they're letting her go by herself, it must be safe. Inside the hotel, Diamond is worried about being alone. After all, she keeps getting attacked by wild Pokemon. But Pearl reassures him he'll be fine. After all, Piplup stops the bulldozer with just a bubble attack, meaning it's hiding his true strength. In the end, they decide that they'll still go to the mines. Pearl wants to use their setting for their next hit. Meanwhile, the worker explains everything about the mine to the lady, but she has a question regarding the massive hole in the wall. She says that it's nothing that important, but he gets interrupted when his Psyduck tries to drive the bulldozer once again. Lady hears a sound coming from within the hole, heading down it and finding a swarm of Pretty Top and Tricky too. Pavlov rushes to the rescue. Pearl arrives just in time to see the Pokemon being exposed by itself. While not without a heavy struggle, Pearl asks if her Pavlov was feeling of not having joined the battles before, and she confirms this is the case. Hence why Pavlov seems so hard to fight now. The worker then arrives and apologizes for the trouble. He explains that their format Roark had the idea to build a Pokemon training ground. However, running on in this battle is hurt Piplups' pride. He wants to help the Pokemon get back on its feet. Luca proposes that she participates in the gym battle. So she asks if Piplups is interested, which he 100% is. Lady asks which hotel they picked out. But to Pearl's surprise, the deluxe celebrity suite that he picked out is only classified as a low-class one. An alert then comes through that Roark has arrived back to the mines. He thanks everyone for their hard work, whilst he was away visiting the Turner and Canonade City. But now he's ready to accept any gym battle, offering Lady the chance to battle the day after tomorrow. As for Diamond, he's still lagging behind everyone. The next evening, Diamond and Pearl wait in the lobby for the lady. And once she arrives, they will stop their beeping Pokedexes and prepare for a hardcore training session. Pearl is up first and is Trembler versus Pepper. Daya asks Pearl if they're the right people to teach Lady, but Pearl explains that he admires domination, and after seeing Pepper's passion, he knows that he has to help him make his dreams of victory come true. Lady already knows the basics of Pokemon time matchup, especially she needs to read 10 books a day. Now she's ready to put what she learned into practice. The trio continue training, and Lady knows how lucky she is to be trained by professionals. Another day passes, and it's finally time for the gym battle. The statue explains the rules in the two Pokemon battle with Switch. But before she can fight Rock, she has to fight the gym trainers. As for Diamond and Pearl, since they call themselves coaches, they have to get kicked out of the gym, especially because they could be giving advice during the battle. So they're gonna have to watch the battle through the window. By the time they're set up, Lady's already made it to Roar. The battle begins with Radio's first Piplup. Although she has a time advantage, Radio's is carrying Shockwave, which makes things a lot harder to deal with than originally planned. Rolls to the switch, and so does Lady, making the next battle Onyx versus Ponytail. Onyx lands a double edge, and with its ability Rockhead, it takes her recoil, and then unleashes Stealth Rock, which is really going to be bad for Piplup, finishing Ponytail off with a slam attack. Piplup comes out, and even though the Stealth Rock is fine, it goes for the kill and takes down Onyx. Now it's Theodosius' turn. Things are looking really dicey, especially with it using double team. He tells Pearl what's happening, so he shouts that if she loses, she'll owe him 1 million. The statue tells the duo to stop making noise. Pearl gets an idea, performing their comedy routine right there, and this time talking about Pokemon names. An emphasis on the fact wanted Wurmple's water, Muscle pulls with energy, and ending off with Theodos confuses their favorite. Lady catches on to what they're hinting, commanding Pip to attack. Roark isn't going to let her though, commanding that headbutt, but instead of landing its attack, instead attacks itself. Roark quickly notices that he used Water Pulse, with his Pokemon down, he exerts the lead, giving victory to Lady and Piplup. Efforts, he receives the callback, and Piplup's pride is restored. Pearl and Diamond congratulate Win. She thanks them for all the help. However, she has one question. When they enter the gym, Pearl can predict the attack the Pokemon are going to use. And Diamond explains that Pearl can sense what moves him by the Pokemon's movement, something he picked up from his father, who left when he was young. He was an incredible trainer, and the training regimen that they gave Lady was based on what Pearl remembered from his father's work, with Lady treating his skills as a family legacy. However, since she won this fight, it means she doesn't have to give away the 1 million fine if she was going to lose. After seeing all this cash, Pearl decides he's going to take a nap, as well as the fact he was carrying Diamond on his shoulders for the whole match. Lady wonders why he would strain himself. Jay explains that he's super stubborn, definitely not a quitter, with both of them saying that he's tough, harder than any stone. The new day rolls around, and the gang prepare to head to Floroma, which is covered in flowers, as the name suggests. Lady wants to visit a shop, and Diamond and his team smell something nice, rushing over to a tree trunk that's covered in honey. But in order to reach this delicious honey, they had to break through a fence. In other words, they stole Angel's. And someone isn't too happy about it. As the young girl reveals, she got honey on the tree. See the comedy there. The Pokemon all attack the gang, and Pearl knows Lady would have something snarky to say about this situation. So he tells Chandler to tell her to stay put in the shop. Pearl gets to make up for their mistake by showcasing their comedy skills, performing it and successfully making the girl laugh. But she says she still can't forgive them. Even worse, the girl's dad is said to be on his way, and his Drifloon appears in the distance. However, the Pokemon is injured, carrying his trainer's coat. The girl says her father works that job at the Valley Windworks, So Diamond and Pearl prepare to see what happened. Lady meets up with them halfway and they tell her what's going on. She's amazed by their willingness to help others, even though they're already helping her. When they arrive, the power of the wind will blast in a way never shown before. They try to enter, but the doors are locked. Though with tremendous flames, they burn off the lock and encounter their foe, even a bronze sword. Pearl notices the gyroballs incoming, so the group tries to run away, which was the right choice as they end up in the girl's father. But he's held captive by a lady who clearly thinks she's Spider-Man. Pearl brings an attack, and the group realize they're trying to steal the electricity. Diamond questions why they would do such a thing, but the lady's saying it's for fun, something Diamond can't agree with. The lady asks what do they consider fun, and Diamond comes up with the idea to showcase their routine. But before we even get to the punchline, the lady guesses the answer, finding the whole thing to be a ton of fun, but also revealing she's never heard of a comedy routine. Now that she's bored, she decides to open the window, blowing wind mixed with bronze sandstorm. The sand starts splitting everyone, and they link arms getting carried out. But Diamond and the girl's father are still stuck inside the building. But if they can't open all the windows at one time, they're bound to get buried alive before they can find them. The girl then hears that bite, even though there's no flowers. Pearl realizes this must be because Diamond's dead. And sure enough, he's right, as the Pokemon alert by the smell of honey. Diamond then burns a hole in the window, killing everyone. The evil lady is disappointed that they got free, but she managed to get all the electricity they needed, hiding the wind turbine and somehow turning it into a vehicle. Before she goes, she says the next time they meet, she wants to hear another comedy routine, but make it even funnier. Later on, the father thanks the group, surprised that Dio would attempt to make a comedy routine in a film. I'm probably pronouncing his nickname wrong since you say Diamond, but it's easier to say Dio, so that's what I'm going to do. Pearl explains that he just communicates like that, and since the lady watched it and listened, maybe she's not all that bad. The girl says that he's nice, but the heart is his stomach. Pearl agrees, saying for the whole time he's known him, he's never seen him get mad once. He's full of good intentions and kind thoughts. A real pearl of wisdom. Stop is a turn of forest where everything's super gloomy. Diamond got a notebook from the little girl about a show he loves to watch, but more importantly, the guidebook also mentions a ton of forest, being a long with no place to see. Something lady overhears. Pearl takes Diamond away to discuss what they're gonna do. After all, they've been staying in five-star hotels this whole time. But luckily, they find a mansion with some people who suddenly disappear. Lady then appears and makes chateau. She heard them say that there was nowhere to sleep, but she chalks out to them wanting to surprise her. So with that, the trio decide to spend the night here at this old chateau. Diamond and Pearl find a place to be creepy, but at least they have a place to stay. For now, Dia has to prepare a tea and snack for Lady, but they feel an odd shadow behind them. Yeah, so it turns out this mansion's filled entirely with ghastlies who attack with electricity. Also, it would seem why they attacked them was something in the middle of the ghastlies. The Pokedex can't pick up what it is, and the Pokemon can't land an attack on it due to how fast it is. The ball of plasma darts from appliance to appliance. Diamond gets an idea. Pearl starts getting overwhelmed by all the ghastly. Suddenly, it all stops, and the Pokemon disappear. He then finds Tia in a room, and the ball of plasma in the TV. Diamond explains that the TV is a Pokemon's home. After all, the people outside were the villains from the show he watches. In other words, the plasma must like TV, but dressed up as one of the people is on TV. So all they had to do was make it return back to the TV. Lady then appears, asking what happened to her tea and food, which Diamond gives her, being a gâteau. He hands one over to Pearl too, saying, what's a chateau without a gâteau? Which made me laugh. And I'm sure by now you get the gist of how this goes. The next morning, the group prepare to eat. Pearl wonders if the plasma was a ghost or a Pokemon, but that's an answer they're going to learn in the future. In Eternal City, we find a lady enjoying the lovely aroma of the grass, but then she smells something else. She smells gas, finding our heroes exiting the forest. She tries to speak to them, but they're too focused on the fact that they've made it out of the forest. So she trips them up with Grassnell, asking if they've out a gas Pokemon, leaving her name to be Gardenia. Armin answers her question, and she says she thought so. After all, they reek of gas. But her confidence flies out the window when she learns that they've out this Pokemon called Chateau. Pearl assures her that Diamond got the job done, much to her surprise, making Lady proud of their skills. Gardenia also reveals that she's the gym leader of Eternal City. They defeated the ghost, she's happy to accept their challenge tomorrow. Pearl wants to know the plan, but Lady's smelling herself for gas, which Pearl questions her about, but she says she didn't. He reassures her that she doesn't smell, but she cuts him off, saying they should book a hotel so she can travel. So they head to the Eternal Grand Hotel, where Lady's training her hardest. Although she plans on taking on the gym, doing this will help her in her quest of reaching Mount Coronet. Pearl can't help but insist the damsel in battle dress, so he and Diamond head down to help her train. Gardenia is a grass specialist, they need to be ready for a grassy field battle. battle, heading to find one, deploying a massive statue of a massive Pokemon. They also find a spiked building or grass nearby, further making their training ground. Diamond commands a Pokemon in battle. Although dealing with Chimchar is easy, Dirt Wing's much tougher. Lady then hears a faint sound of someone asking back, but the others don't hear it. They continue trading, and as they do, a blonde-haired lady in black, almost on their camaraderie, noticing that all three of their Pokemon are about to evolve, and evolve they do. She tells them their new Pokemon are Grovyle, Grimplow, and Monferno. The others are suspicious of how familiar she speaks to them, deciding to test her by showcasing their comedy routine, which is a perfect success. The lady introduces herself as Cynthia, offers some tips to how to defeat Gardenia. Cynthia teaches them on how to plan out their attacks. Art sneezes just as Grimplow launches his attack, causing it to miss and nearly hit a building. Luckily, Cynthia's Spirit Tune stops the attack from dealing any damage, demonstrating his skills again with True Tracer. They continue training and Lady improves quickly, to the point that she's already ready to win. Cynthia has one more piece of advice for them. You need to visualize the battle before engaging, but also to be ready to outplay your opponent when they outplay you. The group then take their lead, and Cynthia knows their Pokedexes, which is another reason why she helped them. Now it's time for her own burst. The bike shop has been recently attacked. She heard a voice of hell coming from this building. At the Eternal Gym, the statue greets them once again, explaining the rules, giving the option of a swim, elimination, or double battle. Lady picking double. Once again, Diamond and Pearl get kicked out of the gym, and find a way to watch, this time being from a tall tree. As for she prepares to allow Gardenia with Ponyta and Grimplow, facing off against Roserade and Cherubi. However, the gap between the two sides is massive. Gardenia plans to stay a safe distance away due to the fire and ice attacks, whilst being able to maintain her own attacks from afar. Ground, taking Ponyta out with poison. Grimplow also faces its onslaught of underground attack, but despite its best efforts, still can't bridge the gap. Diamond and Pearl want to attempt a comedy routine, but the statue isn't going to let them this time. Meanwhile, we head back to the spiked building, known as the Galactic Building. The bike shop owner is tied up, and amongst him are two galactic grunts, who speak speaking a different language. Suddenly, the psychic contained water attack blows onto the window and attacks the grunts, and as soon as they spot Cynthia, they flee. With the psychic grasp, she cuts the ropes, freeing the bike shop owner. And with her mission complete, Cynthia takes back at the gym, Gardenia prepares to finish things off, dropping Grimplow, revealing she's outplayed her. Lady thinks back to the words Cynthia said, as the ground begins to shake. Lizard shoots out from the floor, completely freezing Gardenia's Pokemon, winning the battle. Lady explains that if Gardenia can attack on the ground, then so can she, using the holes that were created to land an attack. Gardenia accepts defeat and hands over the forest badge. Once they leave the gym, Bishop owner thanks him for saving him, as he realized the grass that was left over had some rice on it, likely from Twin Leaf Town. So as a gift, the next morning the gang eats receive a foldable bike. With these bikes, their journey is going to be 10 times faster, but Lady falls a bike. Pearl suspects that she doesn't know how to ride a bike, but she denies this. Instead of going for usual back and forth though, Pearl's had enough of her life, so he's going to teach her himself. Whilst these guys are doing their thing, Professor Rowan and his aide, Mr. Berlez, arrived at his city. As it turns out, there's going to be a professor convention going on. Coincidentally, by them is Rock's father, Byron. Back to the gang, Pearl attempts to teach Lady, but she's too reliant on the info that she's already read. She continues to attempt giving friendly like don't rush, you don't have to fear anything, and that it's okay to cry if it hurts. Her pride won't let her accept it. Eventually, she falls again, scraping her elbow and knee, and even laying out some tears. While Steele wants to get an antiseptic, Pearl reminds him she won't be able to press something like this discourages her. Hearing these words, Lady decides she'll practice by herself, leaving the group with a sour note. However, a Stunky appears, taking out the place and causing her to lose consciousness, while still on her bike. Pearl rushes to stop her, whilst he has to find out where the stench is coming from. Lady's heading straight for an egg, so Pearl has trimmed up the last and forward with fire, but there's not enough rope, so to extend their path, they use Grimplov's ice beam to create a route, just like Red did back in his bike race, saving Lady and bringing her back to consciousness. Diamond finds the cause of her trouble, being a Stunky who got mad at all the noise they were making, but this stench is going to last on them for a whole day. Through this traumatic event, Lady's learned how to ride a bike, apologizing for not taking that advice, and now she needs to learn a lesson on how to stop. Whilst these guys are enjoying themselves, shadowy figure makes their way from Mount Coronet, opening a Pokeball and unleashing their horns. Before he can continue on, he has a package for him, so he needs to sign it, opting to sign it with his own personal pen. And we learn that this no eyebrow man is Cyrus, King Galactic's boss. The guys arrive at the bike area, and the gang's stench is driving everyone crazy. One of the attendants suggests he try that route, which they agree to, with Lady demanding backstop. After that bar, Diamond and the Pokemon noticed something outside, being a massively tall Mount Coronet. And now all we do is climb to the top. The wild Pokemon are all attracted by the energy of the mountain, pushing towards it. A while passes and the crew prepare for that climb. Meanwhile, Cyrus also takes his lead from the other side. And lastly, the bodyguards were named Packer on the left and Yuji on the right. These guys have been following them on their bikes this whole time. But for now, they have to take a break. The gang head towards the mountain. But Pearl wants to know why they have to go through a cave. Diamond explains that to reach the peak, they have to start by going through the cave. Only then can they reach the outside path. This is all well and good, but the cave they entered is the one that won't lead them down the right path. Something Dia forgot to mention. The group shouting becomes a hindrance to Cyrus. The cave mixes the energy of the creation of the world, telling his Pokemon to prepare to evolve and deal with the ones who disturb this mystical sign. Cyrus's Pokemon jump down in front of the heroes and evolve into a Magnezone and Probopass. The Pokemon immediately attack, causing a rock slide and separating the group. Diamond desperately calls out to his friends, and with all these rocks in the way, finding them won't be easy, especially with the presence looming behind him. Diamond continues searching for Pearl and Nate, showing her their comedy routine for Pearl to answer. Suddenly, a Luxray appears and headbutts the rocks, bringing a chase that was also trapped. It zaps Diamond and reveals itself to be a strange Luxray that they before. With its X-ray vision, it successfully locates Lady and Pearl, allowing Diamond's team to break the rocks and freeze them. Luxray then shows them the east exit, while it and his pack head to the west. And after a bit more digging, they finally reach their destination. We now can't wait to Team Galactic, one of its admins. Right now, the evil team's in search of money, and they have the perfect idea on how to get some. Picking out Lady, choosing her as a ransom target. Although they don't have a picture, they have her bodyguards, so if they can follow them, they can find her. As for our trio, they need to head down to Route 298 in order to reach Harlem City, which is unfortunately further from Mount Coronet, but it's the only way to reach the peak. They arrive at the city's entrance where he is dancing. Pearl offers a Pokemon a berry, and instead he attacks him. He tries to get revenge, but it runs away into the city and into the super contest building. Lady notices that Primla wasn't interested in the Venera, but instead it's dancing, and she admits that she was too. But suddenly an influx of participants flow through, dragging her away. Pearl finds Venere's trainer, being a lady named Kira. She explains that Venere wasn't trying to attack him. Instead, it was just using his dance routine, and he got too close, giving him some glitter powder as an apology, telling him to look to the stage since we'll explain everything. And it just so happens, ladies also found a way accidentally onto the stage, where they have to dance. But her skills are less than saturated. Also, Miserable is the same one from the bike race back in Kanto, as well as the contest in Elwood. The crowd's annoyed by Lady's skills, thinking she's just a simple rich girl who thought she could win through me. Lady explains that she ended up here by mistake, but if she's entering, she's gonna win by talent. One of the judges tells her that slot's open tomorrow, and she accepts the challenge. And by 5 a.m. the next morning, he has everyone dressed up, ready for them to start practicing. The crew do their best to link up and get the timing right, but it really isn't easy. He expects Lady's will to win, hence why he's helping out. Since she found it on her family name, she has to lock in. The crew are then approached by the Pokemon Fan Club Association chairman, who, just like usual, enrolls them as honorary members into the Pokemon Fan Club. He takes them all to the club room and gives them a puffin case, which sparks Steve's interest since it's food-wise. He immediately gets the puffins, and he's by every means locked in. Lady's also locked in, watching dance videos of Lady and her family out, which just so happens to be Dia's mom. Now it just leaves Pearl. Since it's judged by free pass, each of them can work together to cover something else. And eventually, the promised time arrives. All eyes are on Lady as she registers, but she isn't bothered a bit by this. Her and the chairman head off to find some Steve, coincidentally passed by Jasmine. In this room, Lady gives her print gloves to Poppins made by Diamond. But while she does this, Pachirisu found its way into her fashion case. Lady's son on stage comes around, but she finds that her case messed around with. The first criteria comes around now. Gribble is looking super cool thanks to it. But Lady begins to panic, realizing that she's been sabotaged. Pearl tells her to focus up and think of something that fits the theme. With 20 seconds left on the clock, she creates an outfit for Grimble. Now it's time for the dancing line, and although she tries her best, she continues to get sabotaged. A 15-minute break is issued. Pearl tries to help her out, but she says she can't continue. Pearl's annoyed at her giving up. Diamond comes to the rescue with something he made, being an original red pie he made for her. Lady tries something. Dia tells her that being on stage isn't easy. Good, since he's done the same. But he reminds her that as long as she's having fun, the audience will have fun too. After finishing it and hearing Dia's words, she decides that she won't quit and heads back out, recording what she read about contests. They were made so that you can share your Pokemon having a good others. And not only that, they're trainers too. The most spectacular Metal Claw, Ice Beam, and Pet combo, she nails all the crowd. You know notice the route fun she's having. The results come through, and in a surprise turn, Lady comes out victorious. What's this one? We were in the Master Rank contest. The well-known Fantina is winning over the crowd herself. Time to hand out the ribbon, and Lady requests that her friends also receive them, and she couldn't have done it without, just like in the gym badges. But at least this time, they're not outside. With a quest completed, the group leaves the building. Paka and Yuji have finally caught up with them. During their hunt, they've learned about Diamond and Pearl, and they suspect that they could be working undercover for some sort of corporation. So they're gonna have to pencil it. But their plans get interrupted by Fantina, who congratulates them on their performance. You can tell that the group is being watched. He escorts them with dribbling. Leaving Paka and Yuji stranded behind. Fantina takes them to the Lost Tower. Diamond and Pearl perform a routine, which she finds hilarious. Yuji arrive on their trail though, entering the tower and getting ambushed by King Galactic. The admin reports that they need 150 million to cover their expenses, but he's going to hold Lady ransom for 1.5 billion, showcasing what he's been working on. Through the use of a camera and speaker, he commands the other members to find Lady no matter what, so they attack. Paka and Yuji send out them to fight back, but despite their skills, they're up against a tough foe. The others hear the noise downstairs, but Fantina tells them that's what always happens, wanting to see another comedy routine. Lady wants to explore the tower, so she gets permission to do so. Downstairs, the battle continues on, and admin spots Lady getting closer. Hermes' cloak gets ripped off, but they use his leaf combined with Weasel's tail to destroy the camera and defeat the grunts. Lady is impressed by the battle she just witnessed, and heads back to tell everyone about it. Meanwhile, Pac and Yuji opt to take a break, thinking they defeat Diamond and Pearl. Inside the Galactic building, we get the reveal that the admin was Saturn, who saves that his defeat. Since they're heading for Mount Coronet, we'll have to attack them at Veilstone City. The other admin from before then shows up too, being Mars. Atop the tower, Diamond and Pearl from all the routines, and Fantina asks Lady if she enjoys battle, which she does, having 2 gyms under her belt. Fantina offers them her dribbling, in order for them to get to the next town. After all, she has to go back to her home anyway. The group thank her for everything, and Fantina thinks to her, you can't wait to battle Lady. The group fly over to Celestian Town and thank Dribbling for his help. Right now, they need to go north then west, so they can continue their journey. But they suddenly hear a camera flash as someone takes their photo. But this culprit runs away. If he begins to watch, this means they're being followed, even with them being disguised as a group of friends. The group chase after the person, realizing that they have arrived at a news station. The door bursts open and the farmer girl first is around, featuring the photo that was taken of them. Her father then appears, revealing he took that photo. He claims he wasn't trying to take a photo of them. Instead, he was trying to photograph what was behind them. These being weird Pokemon that have been flying around everywhere, and they're trying to get a big scoop by catching the first proper photo of them. But Lady just tells them it's an unknown. Pearl thinks she knows this because she's a tour guide, but in truth, Professor Rowan told her about it. She asks the farmers if there's a ruin nearby, and after some digging, they learn more info. The farmer gives Lady some ball seals for her help, and she notices that some unknown are above Deer and Pearl's head. These 2 unknowns are the same ones in the picture. The symbol, who likes Simon, and the P symbol, who likes Pearl. The Pokemon communicate with each other, and they drag the trio to follow them. Eventually, they reach the ruins, but Lady reads the glyphs. They continue deeper into the ruin. The trio realize that the unknown are pretty much just like them. The two being more relaxed, and the P1 being more hasty. Diamond finds a bunch more unknown stuff behind the wall. So Pearl suggests breaking it down, but Lady stops it, saying they shouldn't destroy a historic landmark. Suddenly, a giant boulder falls behind them and chases them into a dark room. But they got separated from their fire types, so they can't even see anything. Lady memorized the glyphs from earlier, only had direction, so they return their Pokemon and search for the exit. They eventually find a room, but they ran out of directions. Lady doesn't want to stop here, especially because she wants to know the secret of the ruins. Searching desperately and tripping on a rock, but Dia helps her, and even no one can tell this little kid has a crush. When she tripped, her Pokemon came out, releasing Kremlin, shining a light from the ball capsule. So with this light, they locate more glyphs that they research. When every life meets, another life is born, unlocking the door to the other unknown. The torches on the wall begin lighting up, and the doors open, allowing them to reunite with their Pokemon. The group head back into town and find a newspaper and turn their comedy routines into a comic. The farmer answers they found the ruins, which Lady reveals they did, but when asked about it again, she lies, saying she never said such thing. After all, some things are better kept confidential. In Canalea City, Professor Rowan and his aide finish listening to Joey and Professor Owl, preparing for their own chance to head up on stage. A lady offers them a copy of the news, while Rowan declares, after all, Celestian Town's news always preposterous. But this leads to them missing out on a big scoop for themselves. The gang's journey was going good, but they ran into a cider, so they're going to have to turn back and detour to Veilstone. Once they arrive at the city, he goes to find a hotel, and instead finds the game corner. where she gets rooted to hearing the instruction. So after a while, Diamond and Pearl go to look for her, but need to find out she's grown addicted to her winning streak. Pearl saves her from her addiction, and they find a hotel. With the coins Lady won, they avoid it in order to increase their Pokemon's game. They test out with Chimler, but her girl ends up running towards their target, causing a massive explosion. Luckily, though, she avoids it and charges over towards them. She asks them if they're alright, but they explain that they were testing out an item that helps land attacks. The girl heard a conversation earlier about challenging her with said item, misunderstanding them to be the same people. Formally accepting the challenge of Bellstone Chip, introducing herself as its leader, Lee, taking her leave and saying that she looks forward to fighting them on Inferno. The group decided to their plans, with mainly being a fighting type expert, one even younger than them, she's not to be taken lightly, which is very surprising considering these guys are only 12. Diamond and Pearl head outside to meet Lee. The trio get ready for their usual training session. Since Lady's going to be left alone, Lady goes to the one place she can truly do the line. A raggedy looking man asks her if she's here to play slots, but she can't, as she left her wallet at home and promised not to play anymore. The man offers to loan her some coin, brings her a game corner so that she can bring him some good luck. The end of the day arrives, and Lady makes her way over to the others, but she's looking really tired. Pearl thinks that she's been training hard by herself, but no, that's not the case. They enter the gym, and the statue greets them. Lady chooses a switch and battle with two Pokemon. Diamond and Pearl prepare to stay their lead, while the statue says that they can stay, as the rest of may need. But they can't give out any advice. The group navigate through the gym, it's really tired. The gym trainers around every corner, things aren't looking too good. Eventually, they reach their need. Lady realizes that she's lost her Pokedex. Pearl says that she'll allow it. Diamond offers to go look for it where she last was, whispering the location of the gym to Diamond. The gym battle begins with Riolu versus Monferno. The two Pokemon are very nearly equal, but Riolu has a slight edge. With String Punch, Monferno is beginning to lose. Lady switches out to Chatot, who immediately switches to Meditite. Comboing Chatot with a Psycho Cup, landing a critical hit. Lady bounces back with Mirror Move, and defeats the Pokemon. Joe comes back in for a revenge KO. Monferno's back out, and the fighting types begin to fall again. Ian reveals that she's jealous of Lady, organized things she has. That's why she refuses to lose to her. Ian arrives at the game corner, asking about Pokedex, which is confirmed to be in the lost and found. Calling Pearl and telling him that he found it. When Pearl realizes what happened, he's angry that she broke up, especially because she chose to lose him after wasting her time playing slots. She tries to tell him it wasn't playing, but before she can continue, he goes for the kill. He tells Monferno to throw away the Sumlet, and instead focus past the rocks. When they line it up correctly, they'll be able to find Rioli's weak spot. Jamming to Maylene that she's just like her. She doesn't need items to win. Instead, using her own Pokemon's strength and her own abilities. Using her hand and treating the battle like a slow machine, allowing Monferno to go for the finishing blow. Maylene thanks her for the match, recognizing her as a worthy challenger. Pearl apologizes to Lady for a trick she was playing, when in reality, she was just learning the quick movements of a slow machine. Just then, the man from before appears, revealing she just watched him play. This guy, by the way, is Maylene's dad, and she's not too happy about his actions. With a new gym badge earned, all we have to do is meet up with Dia, search is lost and found for the Pokedex. But when he finds it, it's taken by Team Galactic. Runs super confident in his field, but ends up slipping on a berry, allowing Dia to take the Pokedex and run. More runs appear, and over at the main building, Saturn focuses on defeating the bodyguard, with a run Bailstone. Her and Lady Straw is fake. Lady worries about leaving her Pokedex behind. After all, she needs to collect his data. I was curious about this, because after all, why would guy have such an advanced device? Suddenly, the streetlights turn off, and he gets knocked out with kidnapped. Fortunately, her kidnappers are Packer and Yuji, so there's no problem. However, they're not the ones who turned off the lights. That is Team Galactic, who are on their trail. They have Lady inside a fitting room, and head outside to do their job, fighting against the Grunts. Hell's spot going on, and Diamond bursts out onto the scene. More Team Galactic Grunts appear. The two fights end up bringing the four bodyguards together. Pearl recognizes them as part of her activity. But they in a situation. Their job is to guard the Sinnoh region with Rich's daughter. She's no tour guide. Pearl is at complete shock at this, and the bodyguards are surprised they didn't realize this mix up until now. They all share a common enemy, as played by Diamond. The bodyguards like his attitude, and Yuji still the same strategy. This time, Diamond gets involved, adding Razor Leaf, and Pearl helps out by predicting the incoming attacks. Packer and Yuji realize the potential that Diamond and Pearl have, knowing that if they receive professional training, they can be masterclass bodyguards themselves. They give them directions on how to do combo attacks, and eventually they take victory. And with this professional experience underway, Drew and Chimlar reach their final forms, Cortera and Inferno. The group then flee the area. Staying in that location is being our lady's hiding spot. Lady wakes up and tries to find her way out. And Simon
Okay.
has an idea. He has a broken machine owned by another hand. Whilst he's been working on the galactic bomb, the other members have been working on the infernal machine. However, it's currently broken and not complete. He turns the machine on and prepares to lure his foes to their doom. Some grunts are still left over. Dia realizes that they're like a hive mind. Packer agrees. Eventually, they arrive at the galactic building, and the guards decide now it's time for them to pull back, tying them to a tree and giving them earrings, instructing them to command their Pokemon from above, throwing the satellite dish on their foes. With the use of his camera, Saturn knows now to scam as any, activating the machine. Everything begins to rumble, so much that everyone in Belstone can feel it happening as well. As a massive blast fires, hitting Packer and Yuji directly, Saturn reveals that his energy blast will remove the two from this world and imprison them forever. Simon and Paul rush over to them, trying to break them out, but no matter what they try, nothing works. They tell their new proteges that right now, their time is coming to an end, and although their time together before, they're proud of what they did, wishing that they continue to protect Lady and complete the mission able to do. As the two vanish, leaving only sunglasses behind. Pearl comes to an understanding of everything that just happened. But more importantly, he isn't surprised about any of it, revealing he's known something wasn't right since the start, but he didn't want to say anything, as if he did, it would mean the end of their trip. Although what they saw was scary, and their dream is to become professional comedians, right now Lady needs helping. So they'll continue forward and help her reach the peak safely, going over to find them. As for Lady, she's been unknowingly working out on the sports equipment. Pearl and Diamond kneel down and promise from now on they'll guard her with their lives. At the Galactic building, Cyrus arrives and mentions Saturn for using a broken machine instead of finishing off the galactic bomb. Saturn explains that he has a master plan to kidnap and hold ransom Lady, but he's still struggling to get a photo of her, something that runs in the game's corner over the years. He heads back to the Lost Tower and checks the footage of the broken camera, where lo and behold, an image of Lady is present. With a new goal in mind, the group continue forward, but it's pouring down with rain. They want to find a hotel, but Lady's already found one, being the grandest hotel in Sinnoh. Only the viewer by names and asking if they're alright with it, but more importantly, meeting a Primpler as well from Napoleon. Before they head to the hotel, they decide to grab some food, and Pearl enters the building, where the vibe very bow heavy. Pearl asks what's the big idea. The people apologize, saying this building is a bow restaurant. Although they haven't even the money glitch in the way of Lady, it wouldn't hurt to get some money for themselves. So he calls Diamond over, and the two participate in bows, taking names and victory. A strange fellow by the name of Dr. Footsteps and a